Welcome everyone, this is Commissary Rycor. We're going to do a review/overview on the Dell XPS 13 Ultrabook. So let's get into it. The model I have here is the Skylake 2016 revision of the Dell XPS 13. It came out in early 2015. That was Haswell E. And the Skylake brings a little bit extra battery power. I do have the 6200U dual-core Skylake processor here, 8 gigs of memory. I'm not sure if it's DDR3 or DDR4. I do believe it is DDR3 low power though. I have a 256 gig NVMe SSD. It's nice and fast. And the screen is a 3200 by 1800 touchscreen. It does come with Windows 10. So first off, let's just admire how amazing this laptop looks. I mean, I too often just find myself staring at it. Not even using it, just kind of looking. It sits on my nightstand at night, so I just kind of like look over and go, that's a very, very pretty thing. Especially when I'm beautiful. Anyways, so speaking of ports that this lady has here, this specific model of the XPS 13 comes with 2 USB 3 ports, a Kensington lock, a microphone headphone combo jack, an SD card reader. It is a 3-in-1 SD card reader, although I don't really tend to use the SD card readers very often. I mostly just go through USB. It has a battery life indicator, which is outstanding. You press this little button on the side right here, and it lights up, tells you how much battery is left. I do really wish more laptop manufacturers would include that. I don't know if it's a Dell only thing. I've only ever heard of it from Dell, but I think it's really cool. Comes with a power jack. The power adapter just clicks right in there. It actually kind of, I don't know if it's magnetic or not, but it will capture it a little bit. And one little note on the power adapter is the charging cable for the power adapter, which I have in the other room. It has a little white LED on there, and the white LED on the front, this little thing right here, will light up, and when it's fully charged, it will turn off. However, the LED on the charging cable stays on, and it's very bright, especially at night when you wake up like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You're like, that's a little brighter than I wanted it to be. So if you do plan on leaving this in your bedroom and you're one of those people that can't sleep with any light on whatsoever, you'll probably either tape over that LED or you'll quickly stop charging a laptop in your bedroom. Either way, it also comes with, last but not least, a USB Type 3. It's a USB Type-C Thunderbolt 3 port, and this is one of the main reasons why I decided to wait to get the Skylake version, is I wanted that port. I heard that port was coming, and so I basically, waited for that port to show up, and then finally it became available on Dell's website, so that's where I got it from. Also does sell a USB Type-C multi-port adapter. I think it's like, I don't remember, it was under $100, but I still felt like it was a little bit too much for what I would use it for. But the multi-port adapter does make great use of that 10 gigabytes per second of data transfer rate from the USB Type-C Thunderbolt port. Basically, on the bottom, we see a continuation of the rather minimalistic design. We have everything, all the service tag information is kept underneath this little door. And we see some ventilation slots on the bottom. I'm not sure if these are intake or exhaust. If you look really closely, I don't know if I'm going to be able to capture this in the video at all, but if you look closely, you'll see a blackened heatsink right underneath this vent, and it's aiming towards the back of the laptop. Basically, a little note on cooling is that when the screen is open, we can open it right now. I wonder if the screen will turn on when it does. Oh, it will. Okay. So when this laptop is opened, it actually vents from under the bottom and from the front of the laptop, and I'm not sure if it's which side it's intaking from, but it doesn't really, even when the fan is going, it doesn't seem to really get too hot. I did originally think that this device was fanless. However, this ain't no Intel Type M processor, so I'm not sure why I thought that. It's just all the reviews I've seen about it, no one ever mentioned the fan. So there is, in fact, a fan on here, and I am happy to report that during normal desktop office type use, such as like Word or spreadsheets, the only thing you're really ever going to hear is the clicking of the keyboard. You'll almost never hear the fan at all. Now, however, if you are watching videos or if for some reason whatsoever you just, do a benchmark on the laptop itself because perhaps you want to do a stress test, the fan will turn on. And it's nowhere near as loud as the previous Ultrabook that I had before this, which was the Acer Aspire S7. That fan was like a jet. This fan, almost, you do hear a hum. It's not that noticeable, but there is a hum when the fan is on. Now, there's a scenario that I'll give you. So, I was sitting in bed, had my laptop sitting there, and I was typing away. And most of the time when I work on my book that I'm writing, I like to have some epic orchestra, it's called epic music. It's orchestral background music that you normally find in like fantasy movies. Well, I had that on, I had that on YouTube. I had a 2 or 3 hour mix playing. I set it to 144p in the background because I didn't really need to watch the video, and I put the video in the background thinking that, okay, the video's on really low resolution and sitting in the background because at this point I realized there was a fan in there, but I figured if I had it on really low resolution and it was just in the background and it wasn't actually actively playing, that the fan wouldn't kick on. However, while I was sitting there typing, listening to the music, because I like listening to music at a low volume, just sort of like background white noise a little bit, just have a little bit in the background. So I'm thinking, but I still like to have a little bit of that music playing. I actually started to hear a really weird hum at about 15 to 20 minutes of the video playing in the background. So with a low song, with a rather quiet song playing in the background, I was able to hear the fan. Now, it's not an annoying fan, and if you're watching, say, like you're watching Netflix or anime or movies or other various things, which I'll use this laptop for, you'll almost never hear it. But for that specific instance, I did end up turning the YouTube video off and then playing it on my phone. However, if I wasn't lazy, I could have just got up and got my Audio-Technica headphones. So I mentioned writing before, so is the keyboard good? Now the keyboard is amazing. The travel and tactile response on the keys themselves, oh good. That was me typing in my password. No, I wasn't actually typing in my password. That's what it came up thinking it was doing. But the tactile feedback is great. I've been able to write on this laptop for 2-3 hours straight, no trouble. Palm rest is outstanding. That carbon fiber palm rest. Keys, great. Backlighting, I don't mind the backlighting because a lot of times when I'm writing, it's later at night, and the backlighting is pretty nice. You can turn the backlighting off if you want to save a little bit of extra battery power, but I think it's sort of negligible, really, with backlighting, because I definitely don't think that the backlighting on this keyboard is sucking juice. But you could if you didn't really necessarily need the backlighting. Now we move up from the keyboard and move on to the screen. This is as you can see, a very glossy screen. This is a 3200 by 1800 touchscreen display. It's a glossy touchscreen display. It's 16 by 10 aspect ratio. This screen's got an amazing amount of pixels. Basically, it's an 11-inch. Let's say it's an 11-inch. It's a 13-inch monitor stuck on an 11-inch panel. Is what you've been hearing from different reviews back and forth. Basically, there's so many pixels on this screen. Windows recommends. I don't know if it's Windows or if it's Dell or if it's a mix of both, because I'm not sure how they put this in there. But the recommended scaling is 250%. Now, almost every program within Microsoft at 250% scaling works fine. Microsoft Office products work fine. No big issues there. Netflix scales pretty well. However, a lot of other Chrome websites require different zooming. And there are some programs such as OBS, which I found out very quickly, just because I'm going to show you the webcam here a little bit. OBS doesn't scale well at all. Now, so just be aware that you might have to adjust your zoom, and some programs don't really scale well. And you could change the resolution down to 1080p on this, but I wouldn't. I bought that resolution because I wanted that resolution. I wanted that really crispy, beautiful screen. Now, watching movies on the screen is actually very, very, very pleasing. But the pixel density on Netflix, on Netflix and other, I've only mostly watched Netflix, but I'm assuming if I were to put on an HD movie from if I were to move a movie over from my hard drive, sure, it would look amazing. Now, I've used touchscreens on Ultrabooks before. As I mentioned, I had an Acer Aspire S7, which was the first Ultrabook I ever owned and was a touchscreen. Now, this touchscreen is, for the most part, very, very good. I actually really like it. It's surprising how many people are like, why do you need a touchscreen on a laptop? Why don't you just get a tablet? But the amount of multi-touch options you could do with a touchscreen, perfect. Now, this does lead to a lot of fingerprint smudges, which is why I keep a microfiber cloth handy. Now, you don't need to wipe it off every day, but every once in a while, maybe once a week, I'll go through and wipe the smudges. Now, I only see the smudges when, you're getting a side angle glare. When I'm just using it straight on for writing, I almost never see smudges. Now, there's a built-in webcam, so we're going to jump over, and this is what the webcam in the device looks like. So here we have a test of the integrated webcam and the microphone. The microphone definitely picks up a different type of directional audio, and the webcam being off to the left and not centered on the screen does make the angle kind of odd, because I'm looking, my preview window is set right in the middle of the screen, and obviously I'm like moving my hand right in the middle of the screen, but the webcam being down here, I've got to move over, and you have to consciously think about the webcam being down there. Plus, I have the laptop angled in the normal position where I would use it, and I had to turn off the overhead lamp because that overhead lamp was very annoying and very bright. So with the angle of the webcam being down here, it is what I would feel like a negative aspect of the placement of the webcam. Had the webcam been more in the middle or been up top and they had moved the screen down further, I feel like that might have been better, but this was an engineering choice on Dell's part. So we'll go on back to the other video. Welcome back. So the quality of the webcam is perfectly acceptable for Skype calling or doing a video conference call where you're on the go. So I would say that the quality of the webcam that comes with it is pretty good, but the angle is rather annoying, and there's probably a whole bunch of design hurdles they argued back and forth where they decided to place the webcam. I doubt they just were like, wow, put it over there. There was probably a lot of back and forth, but they did ultimately decide to put it there, which is a little annoying, especially when you have overhead lights, but it's a usable webcam. Now, as far as the speakers are concerned on the laptop themselves, they're not going to replace my THX 5.1 surround sound system I have here. They're not going to replace my Audio-Technica headphones, but they are pretty decent. I have listened to them. I've watched Netflix, anime, and a whole bunch of stuff when I was traveling. I was watching Netflix when I was in England, and the sound from the speakers was decent. I wish it would have been a little louder, but they were pretty good. They're not wouldn't replace. They're not going to replace dedicated audio speakers, but they are decent for what they are. Let's see. Now, this brings me on to one of the things that I dislike about the XPS 13. This is the trackpad. Everything up until the trackpad, I was very happy with. Now, the trackpad is one of those things where until you use the trackpad, you're not really sure. A lot of other things such as hard drive capacity or SSD capacity, processing power, RAM, those things you can be predictive. Resolution, you can be like, yeah, touchscreen, I want this, and this. Trackpad. Now, the things that work on the trackpad very well: multi-touch, zoom, pitch, rotation, those kind of things work very well. Two fingers swipe for scrolling, that also works very well. There is a bug, however, and I don't know if this is a Chrome bug or if this is the drivers in the trackpad. I've searched all over the internet, various forums, various places for trying to figure out how to solve this problem, and I've tweaked Chrome settings and I've tweaked mouse settings. It doesn't seem to work. Now, there are very random times when using Chrome the mouse cursor will just disappear. The mouse responses will still be there. Say if you left or right clicked somewhere within Chrome, you'll see the window pop up, but the cursor itself disappears. And I've tried various shortcuts to bring the cursor back, and it doesn't work. Now, if I close Chrome, the cursor shows up on the desktop just fine, and works in Word, it works in Excel, it works in the Edge, Microsoft Edge, their new browser. But if I open Chrome back up, it won't work. It just stays away. The touchscreen, touchpad works just fine, but the touchscreen, when you're touching the screen in Chrome, you can't necessarily right-click unless there's a touchscreen right-click gesture I'm just not aware of. And if somebody knows about that, please let me know. However, the only way I've been able to solve the problem so far is to restart the XPS 13. Now, I've heard that connecting external mouse will work. So if the bug does happen again, it hasn't happened in a couple weeks. If it happens again in Chrome, I'll run and grab a mouse and plug it in and see if that fixes it. But until then, I have to restart the laptop. Now, with the 256 gig NVMe SSD that's in here, the boot is very fast. So it's like, oh, I gotta restart it. Oh, okay, it's back on. It is annoying if I'm in Chrome, saying I'm using Google Docs or something, and the mouse disappears, and I've got to, touch to find the save button, close it out, or if I'm, in like a Flashbait chat room or something, and I gotta, I'll be like, oh, I gotta go, I'll be right back, because I don't have your right click, because there's a lot of chat rooms where right click is a thing, and, so I just gotta close it out, restart the computer, go back in. I don't know if it's a Chrome issue or a driver's issue. It seems like it's a driver's issue on the trackpad from what I'm reading, but I am not 100% sure. Now, performance. As far as the performance is concerned, I would say that the performance for this version is outstanding for what I use it for what I bought it for. Now, I bought this specifically for writing. I mostly only web browse, Excel, write. I watch movies. Occasionally, I do have another dedicated home theater system in my bedroom where I normally watch my Netflix or videos. But I do watch videos on this every once in a while. Now, the weight of this item is 3 pounds. Is just around 3 pounds. If it's under 3 pounds if you get the non-touch model, but if you get the touch model like I did, it's over 3 pounds. Now, it does have a very impressive 6 to 7 hours of battery. It will say it's got 9 hours of battery, but it's definitely more closer to 6. It's 6 or 7 if you're using it, every once in a while. So there's often times where I just leave it unplugged and I don't have to charge it for several days. So normally, for my normal case use scenario, I'll use it at night. I write for about an hour to 2 hours. And when I wake up, I'll throw it into my backpack. It fits perfectly. It's a nice small form factor. And at work, I'll have it sitting on my desk. And I'll just leave it close. And if I ever, because a lot of times when I'm working on a chapter or something, I'll have a brain idea and I'll need to, I want to jot that down. I used to jot it on scripts of paper or on a notepad, and then I would come back and I would be like, what the hell did I write? Like, I don't know what this is. And so this way, if I'm thinking about a paragraph or something, I'll pop the laptop open, jot down what I'm thinking about, maybe a page down from where I'm working, throw in that paragraph, and then I can use that later on. So that use case scenario is very amazing. So basically, this Ultrabook does exactly what I want, and it looks really good doing it. So if you're looking for an ultra portable device that's around 3 pounds to do spreadsheets, Word documents, homework, work on the go, watch a few videos in a hotel room, and you do have some extra money lying around, I definitely think you should look at the XPS 13 for various considerations. Now, Dell offers, the i3 model. I think the starting price is like $799, so you get an i3 with 126 gigs, and you get a matte 1080p display. So there is the option for the 1080p display. However, from at least when I was last looking, you couldn't get the 1080p display on any i7. You had to get the touchscreen with the i7. So it would be kind of interesting to see if they could do the 1080p on lower versions, but you can get anywhere from start at 4 gigs all the way up to 16 gigs on the highest end model, and so you can get a Skylake i3, i5, i7, And like I said, there is the if you want a 1080p, I think the highest you can get is i5, 8 gigs, and a 1080p with 256. So you can pretty much get the same thing I did, but instead of the touchscreen, you would get the 1080p matte display, which would save you on weight and battery power. Also, there are various manufacturers that make custom vinyl skins for this. So if for some reason, I had a friend of mine who got he didn't get the XPS 13, he got the Microsoft, what is that Microsoft? Surface Book. He got the Surface, no, not the book. Was it the book? Whatever, the Surface laptop tablet with the keyboard integrated. I think that's the book. Anyway, so he got the Surface and he scratched his pretty much within the first few days, which sucks because, I think that one's made out of magnesium, and this one's made out of aluminum. But I haven't scratched it yet that I've noticed. But if I ever do heavily scratch this, there's plenty of manufacturers out there that are making vinyl skins for this. So I can just order up a vinyl skin, perhaps put some Warhammer 40K, maybe the Imperial Eagle could go on the front of my laptop. I don't know. The Dell logo is kind of in the way. And all the ones I've seen, there's still the Dell logo there on all the vinyl skins. I wonder if I could cover that. But that is a possible option, so I could always go that route. Well, basically, in conclusion of this review, this is the XPS 13 Ultrabook. A little bit more expensive for what you're getting, but for the form factor and the weight, it's definitely worth it. Now, are there other laptops out there that are cheaper and more powerful? Yes, but they are heavier, and they are a little thicker, a little bulkier. So I definitely recommend giving this a look if you need a laptop that's very light, very portable, and has good battery power. If you're looking for if you're looking for more of a tablet, there's lots of other options out there. There is, the Yoga gives you the 10 options, the Surface, various Surface Books, as the Surface Book, or there's the other one, the Surface Pro. Those are good for tablets, but I love the keyboard. I was looking for just a regular laptop that was nice, light, and could last all day. So give the Dell XPS 13 a look, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. Feel free to leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, please leave me a like, and if you want to see more, mostly gaming videos, 40K, painting stuff, mostly a lot of more Warhammer stuff now, but I still do other gaming stuff. Feel free to subscribe, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.